Today on Studio One, a new study shows hunger hormones could be the reason for weight regain. Also, meet one man who helps keep an ancient sport surviving and thriving. And we'll tag along as one man tries to muster laughter.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Ashley Trudan. We have a great show for you today. We even have a puppy on set later.
That's right.
We have an Icelandic sheepdog breeder here on the set to talk about this rare puppy.
Yeah, and it was almost extinct at some part.
Way back, the dogs used to be extinct, and then they almost went extinct again in the 60s. So she has a lot of really interesting information that she'll be sharing with us later.
All right, look forward to that. Also on the show, weight loss success could be hindered by hunger hormones. We'll tell you what new research shows.
We all get older, but as we do, who will advocate for us? Later on, hear what one woman is doing to help protect the rights of elders in her community.
And before we get to all of that, here's today's news with Stephanie Shire.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. The Greek Prime Minister announced Thursday that Parliament will not hold a referendum on taking a loan from the European Union. The loan serves to boost the country's economy. The Prime Minister called off the direct vote, saying that it was not needed since the opposing parties supported the bailout. He says the government needs to show clearly it has consensus on the bailout package from all sides. He called an emergency cabinet meeting to make the decision. France and Germany gave warning that Greece may have to withdraw from the European Union if citizens voted against the loan. The deal would cover half of the country's debt. Solyndra, a California solar energy company, has filed for bankruptcy. The company had received a $528 million loan from the Department of Energy in 2009. The House voted on Thursday to subpoena the White House for financial records. Republicans say a subpoena was necessary because the White House has denied or delayed requests for thousands of documents related to Solyndra. Right before the company filed for bankruptcy, the Obama administration proposed a bailout that would make the government part owner, but it was voted down. Vegetarianism has been traced back to ancient Greece, and although meats are a staple in the common American diet, some still avoid it. The American Dietetic Association says there are more young vegetarians today than ever before. Children as young as 12 are cutting meat out of their diets. This can have parents and doctors worried that children aren't getting the nutritional benefits these foods provide, especially in growing adolescents. Many vegetarians watch what they eat to make sure to get all the nutrients.
Every type of vegetable in that I can, because I know that this one has specific nutrients and that this one doesn't. It's just making sure that the rest of the food pyramid is balanced out, I guess.
The Dietetic Association also says vegetarianism is expected to increase over the next decade. The saying, "I never forget a face," might soon be true, for your smartphone that is. A new application developed by Carnegie Mellon University identifies a total stranger just by the click of a camera. It takes only minutes for the facial recognition software to give you a person's real identity. It finds information and pictures of a person that are publicly available online. The app can even use online data from public social networking sites. Some believe this could be intrusive on their everyday lives. Once the pounds are lost, a new study shows dieters have a slim chance of maintaining their reduced weight. The reason? Possibly hormones.
Most people will tell you that losing weight isn't easy, and keeping it off is even harder.
Anybody who's lost weight, whether it's 5 pounds, 50 pounds, or 500 pounds, you face obstacles every single day.
A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine followed 50 overweight people on an extremely low-calorie diet. A year later, the group had regained about half the weight lost. Scientists found hunger-related hormones increased, constantly telling the dieters to eat, eat, eat. But some weight loss experts disagree.
Being on a very restrictive calorie diet like that will slow your metabolism down, and once these people started eating regular foods again and regular amounts of foods to sustain a healthy lifestyle, it is easier for them to put the weight back on.
While some blame hormones, Spicer says dieting is all about discipline.
We need to stick to the things that we know, such as healthy lifestyle changes, exercises, and a healthy diet. Those are the things that we know work.
Things that Stacey Hagen knows all about.
I always tell people that I wake up every single day and I make a choice. Am I going to win today, or am I going to fail a little more today?
Stacey completed her journey losing a total of 130 pounds almost 10 years ago.
Do I feel like exercising every day? Absolutely not. But that's a choice that I need to make. So I have to decide what's more important to me that day. My health or watching my show.
The CDC states that about 1/3 of U.S. adults are overweight. And even though this disruption in hunger hormones could increase your appetite, Stacy proves it can be conquered.
Sometimes when I look at pictures and I can just feel like, whoa, it was a transformation. I did a good job. Something to be proud of.
It's not just about the losing, it's about maintaining the weight loss. And nothing can be more tempting than that. I'm Tanya Peters, reporting for Studio One.
A number of previous studies have found when body fat is lost, hunger is triggered. The body fears weight loss could threaten survival. And that's the news for now. Monty and Ashley.
Thanks, Stephanie. Can you imagine losing 130 pounds?
You'd be like a whole different person.
Absolutely.
You know, it's such a life-changing experience for people.
Wow.
Well, let's head to Katie Link to talk to us a little bit about the warm fall we've been having.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. We've been seeing a very warm fall with temperatures well above average still, and we aren't going to see. We're actually going to see a cool down happen in the next week or so. But first, we're going to look at the average first inch of snowfall. So in Baudette, we actually saw November 7th is when they're supposed to get their first inch of snowfall. But with these above average temperatures, we probably won't see that this year. Now moving into Grand Forks, we see November 15th as our first average inch of snowfall, and down in Fargo, November 11th. Now what's causing this is our snowfall around the North America. Canada is seeing snowfall just in their northern territories for now, and by November 1st, they're actually supposed to see snow cover all the way down to the United States-Canadian border. Now there's only a few parts of the Rockies that are seeing snowfall so far too. Now what happens is, as air masses move through Canada, they're usually cooled down by all of the snow, bringing in our average temperatures around 40 for this time of year. Now what's happening now is it's bringing cooler temperatures, but then when it gets to the area where there's no snow, it actually causes it to warm up a little bit. So we're seeing 50s in North Dakota for now. So we're not going to see snow quite yet, and I'm not expecting it for quite a while. Now that brings us to next week. We're going to see cooler than average temperatures in the western portion of the states as the jet stream is going to cut down near Mexico, and then it's going to bring it back up. So it's going to bring warmer than average temperatures to the east coast, causing a ridge, keeping them warm and dry. Now our precipitation, we are going to see a few strong low pressure systems move through the Ohio River Valley, dumping quite a bit of precipitation, and as the same for the northwest coast. They're going to see quite a bit of precipitation as a strong low pressure moves through the region. Now that does bring us to our weather question of the day. What is the best way to keep you and your home warm this winter? Turn on your heat, seal and insulate your home, take a hot shower, or wear warm clothes. Now Monty and Ashley, I've actually already turned on my heat because it's a little too cold for me already.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, it is that time of the year when it's like turn the furnace on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off.
You don't know what's a happy medium.
No. That's all right, though. And let's go now to some sports highlights. We have NHL on deck with John Schaefer.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. A favorite time of this year for sports enthusiasts usually coincides with the postseason. Playoffs in any sport creates drama and intrigue. Many people think that one of America's most popular pastimes is missing out on this excitement. Division I college football is unique from all other sports in that it doesn't end its season with a playoff system to crown its champion. Instead, there are a series of bowl games which teams are placed in based on expert analysis. Most fans want the NCAA to change from the Bowl Championship Series or BCS format to play a traditional playoff structure for the postseason.
You know, it's all driven by money. I think the coaches are against it because there's so many bowls out there and there's so many incentives for you in your contract to get to a bowl game, and you win 6 games and you're in a bowl game.
Those who prefer the BCS style say that adding playoffs would lower the value of play throughout the regular season. It's now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question. What year did fencing become an Olympic sport? Plenty of ranges there. It became modern in the late 1800s, if that's a hint for you. So we'll get to that in the next half hour. That's the sports, Monty and Ashley.
All right, thanks, John. Two well-known comedians are teaming up. We'll preview the movie Tower Heist with Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy.
Also, elders in a Native American community are known for being highly respected. Next, we'll meet a woman who is an advocate across the nation for this population.
The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is meeting the challenge of future healthcare workforce shortages. The state's only medical school produces the highest percentage of graduates nationwide who choose family medicine. Advanced degrees are also offered in basic medical sciences like anatomy and health professions like physical therapy. Students learn and train throughout the state.
In that way, we really are North Dakota.
Make your choice the UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences.
At the University of North Dakota School of Engineering and Mines, improving the world is our project.
This could be your next road.
Our research helps heat your home without hurting the environment.
You drink clean water because of my work.
We push technology to improve quality of life.
This field could fuel your car.
Petroleum production can be more efficient.
One day, my ideas will impact you.
I am
an engineer.
Accounting at the University of North Dakota is more than just numbers. It's about maintaining a history of high-quality education and developing leaders in the accounting profession. While numbers stay the same, the UND accounting program continues to evolve. UND hosts one of the country's best accounting programs and now offers a master's degree in accountancy. Accounting at the University of North Dakota. Numbers accelerated.
Studio One is a television show produced by students at the University of North Dakota.
You can be a part of the graphics team, the marketing team, news team, programming team, production team.
Training never ends.
You get to produce guests, you get to do the reporting side of it.
It's really worth the experience. You will not regret it.
Help others live to their full potential. Improve clients' mental and physical well-being. Excel in one of the top healthcare careers of the future. Occupational therapy students at the University of North Dakota experience high-quality education in small classes.
Now to come to 45 degrees, even in a normal motion pattern.
Your healthcare career begins at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One, news, weather, sports, and entertainment.
The population of Native American elders is rapidly growing in the U.S. As the numbers increase, so does the need for awareness. Native American aging researcher Twyla Baker-Demaray is here to discuss the work she is doing to advocate for that community. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, Twyla, you work with an organization called the National Resource Center on Native American Aging.
Right.
What is it?
It's a large organization and it's a small organization. We work out of a few offices at the Center for Rural Health at the med school here at the UND. And we work with tribes throughout the United States. We work with Alaska Native villages and Hawaiian homesteads as well, which is kind of lesser known. There are relatives at the same time, but lesser known indigenous people.
And what about your role? What do you do in particular with this?
I'm the director of the Resource Center, and I've kind of worked my way up. I do health research, wellness research, and we do a number of things, working with, in particular, Native elders, but we kind of, it runs the gamut as far as the type of projects that we do.
And how did you get involved with this?
How did I get involved? Yeah. I actually started as a graduate research assistant over there, and I started doing research. I started doing work with the Center for Rural Health. I actually started, my very first job was working with Native veterans in the state of North Dakota. And that kind of segued into a position with the CRH, working for the NRC NAA, doing research with Native elderly populations.
Well, and you've been researching this for a while now. What is the main purpose of the NRC NAA?
our bread and butter project is our elder needs assessment, and that's where we work with communities, tribal organizations, urban and rural populations to get their needs assessments done, and that is essentially it's a great big survey, a health and wellness survey for Native elders to help complete their Title VI requirements.
So do people go into the communities or into the homes and actually do this assessment with the elders?
We actually work with the communities to train people who are from these local areas so that they have some data collection background and such to be able to go in and do their own data collection, because I myself would only be comfortable going back to like my home reservation to do that type of work. I'm from Fort Berthold. I'm enrolled in the 3 affiliated tribes of North Dakota.
Sure, so. And you talked earlier that you're not just with a specific tribe, but you're also working with Inuit people,
yep.
also Hawaiian. Why was this all started? Why was there this need?
Well, there's Native elders are kind of one of the fastest growing populations in the nation. Elders in particular are growing pretty quickly, but minority populations are also rising very rapidly, and there's a need to provide services for them, to see where the gaps are, and to be able to address those needs, not just from like the federal government standpoint, but from, say, the state and also from the tribes themselves.
Well, you said the gaps, so what are the things that are needed by the elders?
Well, there's high rates of chronic disease and illness and things like that in elderly populations, in Native populations. But there's also need for health providers, because a lot of these folks that I work with, they're rural, and they don't have access like, say, someone who's close to Grand Forks would. And
you've seen these issues firsthand.
Absolutely.
Is there a particular story that comes to mind that sticks with you?
Well, I'm thinking about my own hometown and about the time when we had very little access to a pharmacy. The local pharmacy, which was actually 13 miles from my hometown, closed down, and that meant that the folks who lived like in Newtown and in Parshall, where I'm from, had to make the 70-mile round trip to Newtown just to get their prescriptions filled, and that's if they had a vehicle to be able to do that. So.
Sure, and everyone knows that seniors need prescriptions.
Absolutely.
A lot of times, so
Absolutely.
that can be very important.
Yeah.
Well, why is it important to have an organization that represents solely Native American elders?
Our needs are pretty unique, and there's a lot of cultural mores and things that people have to understand when they're going into these communities. I mean, we have a lot of similar needs as just a regular rural community. You'd want somebody who's local to be able to do the work for you, and also to recognize the autonomy of the tribes and their governments.
What are some of the programs that the organization funds or supports?
Well, we do the needs assessments, and that's a really large project, and that happens every 3 years. This last survey ended up with 18,000 Native American elders taking the survey, and that's a pretty good chunk of people. But we also use that data to help create programs like the Well Balanced program, which is the Wise Elders Living Longer exercise program for Native Americans. So.
Okay. Well, and we have the website address on the screen. What do you hope happens in the next 10 years for Native American elders?
I want to see us being able to take care of our own. So everybody's going to be an elder at some point if we're lucky enough to get there. So I'd like to see us set up the infrastructure and have the ability to take care of our own. Also, incidentally, we are starting our NIJI project, which is the National Indigenous Elder Justice Initiative, which is going to be housed at the CRH as well. And it's about elder abuse. So that's another project that's going to be rolling out.
Well, good luck on the next 10 years and beyond. It sounds like great work.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Well, coming up, in one sport, you have to have a quick hand and sharp mind to win. We'll introduce you to a man who helps keeping the sport of fencing alive. Also, fear of public speaking is not even in this person's vocabulary. We'll talk to a comedian about working on the road.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
What does cancer look like? What about diabetes, heart disease? Medical laboratory professionals are a vital link in the treatment of disease and maintenance of health. They investigate clues found in the body that will direct patient care. The University of North Dakota's laboratory science programs are some of the most innovative, far-reaching, fully accredited programs in the nation. The UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences can help you become one of the few who see beneath the surface.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
Many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
Workers being taken advantage of by the rich and then turning the tables is a timeless plot. A new action comedy featuring Ben Stiller and Eddie Murphy explores this genre. In the movie, a penthouse billionaire has stolen $20 million from the tower's blue-collar workers. Unwilling to stand by and watch their retirement pensions disappear, they decide to seek revenge. Ben Stiller plays the manager of the luxurious residence, who forms a team to pull off this ambitious heist. He needs the help of a real criminal, an old preschool friend played by Eddie Murphy.
Live and die on the relationships of the people in it, because, you know, there have been so many heist movies. It's really like, what are you going to see that's different and interesting? And I think it's just getting invested in the characters.
The producer mentioned that he wanted a cast with a number of comedians who were always running into the next problem. The Trump Tower in New York City was used as a luxurious residence in the movie. Tower Heist is rated PG-13, is set to be released on November 4th. Now it's time to look at the events happening in your area. You listen to him to put a smile on your face. You sit as he tells the stories of every day to help you find the humor in life. Today we spend a day in the life of the person in the spotlight that tries to make you laugh.
This is not the big stage. It is actually quite small. For Mike Leibovitz, any stage is a good stage.
Spot just left it in the middle of the street. That's when I want me to take a cab. Okay, I get it.
I kind of had this epiphany where I realized I didn't like working with other people, so I started doing stand-up.
Mike has traveled the country performing his routine for only the last 4 years.
It's really cool being able to just travel to different places and see the country. One thing that's kind of a bummer is I always leave my family at home. I got a wife and a kid, and so I'm always here by myself.
His travels led him to some unfamiliar territory. In those different towns, Mike encounters some diverse groups.
I try to make everyone laugh. If the older people don't like me, they'll be dead soon enough, you know? The younger kids will be around. They can be my fans for longer.
His travels take him away from his family. In those moments, it's good to be reminded.
It's really sad. I'm alone in a crappy hotel room in Mandan. I'm so unhappy. I'm dying the dream, you know. And then I went and I did the show, and it was fun. They were responsive, they were really into it, and it was just like a reminder, oh right, that's why I'm doing this.
Mike may not be on the biggest stage or under the brightest lights. It makes it all worth it for that moment of pure laughter. With photographer Miranda Hilgers, I'm David Folsky, Studio One.
Mike says the longest distance he has ever traveled was for a show in Alaska. Coming up, simply turning your thermostat to stay warm could leak hundreds of dollars. We'll tell you how to bundle up your home this winter. That story plus news, sports, and weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
If this tennis ball represents today's environmental challenges and these puppies are the EERC, then tackling those challenges is just another workday. At the EERC, we're improving air, water, and soil quality, developing renewable fuels, cleaner power plants, and discovering new ways to use our natural resources. And just like those puppies, we'll never tire of the pursuit. EERC, putting research into practice.
Help others live to their full potential. Improve clients' mental and physical well-being. Excel in one of the top healthcare careers of the future. Occupational therapy students at the University of North Dakota experience high-quality education in small classes.
Now to come to 45 degrees, even in a normal motion pattern.
Your healthcare career begins at the University of North Dakota.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
Many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
Your future depends on this moment. Take the path that leads to your future.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today. Well, most everyone has their favorite option in their vehicle.
Mine's
right?
the auto start. I love it. Especially in the winter, you press that button, your car's all heated up.
For sure. And you know, some of them are standard now, air conditioning and tilt. You know, that used to be an option. It's in everything now. Well, we wanted to know what people would want in their vehicle, no matter what the technology. And so we went on the street, asked them that question. We have some fun answers coming up for you in the next 30 minutes on Studio One. Also on the show, the use of antidepressants soared in the United States in the last decade. Find out how much and why.
Also, trains come in all shapes and sizes. Next, we'll take you to a pint-sized town that has its creators playing with miniature locomotives.
And we'll talk to a woman who breeds a rare type of pooch. There are only around 6,000 of these dogs in the whole world. And we have one in our studio today. But first, here's today's news with Stephanie Shire.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. Presidential candidate hopeful Herman Cain is facing controversy. News broke out this week of past sexual harassment allegations from two former employees. The harassment accusations were made during the 1990s while Cain headed the National Restaurant Association. The two female employees allegedly received financial settlements at that time in order to leave the organization. One woman's attorney is now trying to get a confidentiality agreement dismissed so she can go public with her side of the story. Cain responded to the accusations by calling them falsified claims of unsubstantiated evidence. The Cain campaign has also pointed fingers at fellow Republican candidate Rick Perry for leaking the story.
because
Perry is denying Kane's accusations of leaking the story, but the Texas governor may be dealing with a controversy of his own. A video of an unusually passionate speech in New Hampshire went viral. Many are accusing Perry of being under the influence of alcohol or medication during his remarks. In response to his critics, Perry denied being drunk. He stated that he thought the speech was pretty typical and that it felt great. Pop, soda, Coke. Whatever we call these soft drinks, a new study shows they may have rough consequences on teens. Researchers from the University of Vermont found that high school students who drink a lot of soda are more likely to become violent. Those who drank 5 or more cans of soda a week were also more likely to consume alcohol and smoke cigarettes. Research is still being done to determine if the high sugar and caffeine content play a part in these violent behaviors.
As far as in mood and irritation, excessive caffeine has been known to cause irritability and increases anxiety. So if you have too much, then it's got a negative consequence on the body.
Frequent soda drink consumption was linked with up to 15% increase in aggressive acts. Other contributing factors include age, sleep patterns, and the amount of family dinners. A Danish study of 350,000 people has many cell phone users relieved. The study examined the connection between the use of cell phones and cancer. It found no evidence that links the two together. Last year, cell phones were put on a list of possibly carcinogenic products. This was due to research that showed a small possibility of a correlation between cell phones and a rare type of brain tumor. Despite the new study, concern about the relation between the two still persists. Cancer rates have not risen since cell phones were launched. Depression is an illness that affects the mind and body. According to Mayo Clinic, people with depression feel much better with some type of medication.
Brian Andrews is finishing up his senior year in college. He has many friends and hobbies.
I guess you can kind of say I'm a fish nerd.
But despite what people see on the outside, inside, Brian suffers from mild depression.
I'm a really positive person, have a positive, outlook on it. On just about everything, and sometimes it's kind of you just need like that little bit just to like get over that hump, so you can, just I guess it's that little assistance that's needed.
And Brian is not alone. The Centers of Disease Control and Prevention say more than 1 in 10 Americans over 12 years old take antidepressants. That's an increase of 400% since 1988. Psychologists say there are many reasons for this increase.
It depends on what era of life someone's in and things like that really affect who is coming in for depression and why. Overall, the statistics would say that adult women are more likely to have depressive disorder than an adult man.
Also, medication has fewer side effects than earlier antidepressants.
Ibuprofen is one of them, and then I just got that added last year.
The most common antidepressant pills are Zoloft and Lexapro, which are known to have the fewest side effects. Psychologists say another remedy besides taking pills to help with depression is to find something of interest.
Yeah, like watching fish are medically proven to lower your blood pressure.
Doctors say there are many ways to get over depression. Admitting that it's a problem and seeking help is the first step towards happiness. I'm Brittany Conop, reporting for Studio One.
Brian says some of his favorite outdoor activities are wakeboarding and riding his motorcycle. Doctors recommend outdoor activities and say they release feel-good brain chemicals, takes the mind off worries, and allows people to cope with depression in a healthy way. And that's the news for now. Monty and Ashley?
Thanks, Stephanie. Well, I know one thing that is not depressing is, our weather. Although we've been kind of in a bubble in the Midwest because there's been snow dumped in Denver, and now the East Coast has got some.
Mm-hmm. So we're in the safe zone for right now.
Yeah.
But who knows how long that'll last. Let's head to Katie Link to talk about the weather over on the East Coast.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. Now, the East Coast saw a freak snowstorm right before Halloween, which postponed and canceled many Halloween events. Now, what happened was a thing that's called a nor'easter moved up the coast and dumped a ton of snow on the northern portion of the East Coast. Now what you see here is a time lapse from New Jersey, and what happened was a lot of the trees still had leaves on them, so that when the snow piled on top of them, they actually it weighed it down and broke a lot of branches and knocked over a lot of trees. Now this is what the nor'easter is. It's a large low pressure system that rotates counterclockwise, bringing in a lot of moisture from the ocean as it rotates up and moves up the coast. Now it started down near the Carolinas and it dumped a lot of rain there, but as it moved up the coast, it actually started running into some cooler air, which then it produced snow. And with all this moisture moving on to land, it actually moved, it created a lot of snow with all that available moisture. Now along with this, the low pressure was very strong, and it actually caused 70-mile-per-hour winds, which caused a lot of damage in many locations. Now here are some snow totals around the region. We saw Hillsborough, New Hampshire at 21 inches of snow, Wilmington, Vermont at 13, and Plainville, Massachusetts at 27.8 inches. Now that is a lot of snow, and as we move into the wintry months, we are going to actually start thinking about winterizing our homes.
The warm temperatures have vanished, which brings the bitter cold. Along with bundling yourself up, you may want to bundle up your home too. Eric Brucker says the best thing to do is check your attic. Insulating your attic reduces unwanted heat loss out of your home. Some attics may not be prepared for winter.
A lot of homes, older homes pre-1980, 1970, are under-insulated quite a bit.
Brucker also says windows are very important for winterizing your home. Poorly sealed windows can leak 15 to 20% of heat through the gaps. Window insulation coverings assist in allowing heat to move into or out of your home. This can be very simple. One way Brucker suggests is using plastic.
If you have really leaky windows as far as around the frame, you actually have to pull the trim off to try and insulate that better.
Once you seal up all the known outlets, Brucker says it's good to look for leaks.
Eliminating drafty spots can make a huge difference. It's something that's relatively simple for a homeowner to do.
A properly prepared house will keep you warm this winter, give you an eco-friendly peace of mind, and leave you with lower bills. I'm Chelsea Grover, reporting for Studio One Weather.
And now that we've learned how to properly prepare a house for winter, that brings us back to our weather question of the day. What is the best way to keep you and your home warm this winter? And the answer is seal and insulate your home. Now, Monty and Ashley, it costs an average of $1,400 to heat a home throughout the year. So it's best to make it as eco-friendly as possible.
Thank you for the information, Katie.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even want to look at the heating bill. Got to seal up that home. All right, let's turn now one last time to sports and John Schaefer.
Thanks, Monty and Ashley. In the United States, when you hear the word fencing, you may think of something that divides you from your neighbor's yard. But some people are trying to keep the ancient sport of fencing alive.
Fencing is a sport that has been around for thousands of years. Some may think it's outdated or something you only see in movies like Zorro. But Mike Anson is still on guard.
It's a complete stress reliever. It's athletic. It teaches you self-discipline. It's good for your body, good for your mind. You see how I came out to my...
Mike Anson has been fencing for over 25 years. His passion for the sport runs just as deep as it did in the 80s.
You saved me, but you took away my target. I would say it's easier to keep someone in fencing than it is in football, because in fencing it's a lifetime sport. You can start at the age of 8 and go to the age of 88.
And today you may not be defending a castle, but instead have to defend yourself.
It's an individual sport. You're on your own. It's you and your opponent, and you can fence with full intent.
For some, this ancient activity may seem too intense at first glance, but Mike's gym provides a relaxed atmosphere.
Just that it's lots and lots of fun, and if you have the right teacher, like Mike, it's not intimidating. It keeps it fun. We're laughing. It's not militaristic. You're not made to feel humiliated. It's just fun.
Having a good time is not the only benefit in Mike's club. You might end up with a second home.
Just come to the club and try it. We allow the first couple nights to try it out before, and once you join, well, then you're part of the family.
In Mike's club, this individual sport still makes you feel like part of a team. I'm Miranda Mars reporting for Studio One Sports.
USFencing.org says fencing is one of 4 sports to be included in every modern Olympics. Now the answer to this week's Studio One sports trivia question: what year did fencing become an Olympic sport? It was 1896. And that's the sports, Monty and Ashley.
All right, thanks, John. Cruise control, air conditioning, power windows, these are all options we expect in a new vehicle. We wanted your thoughts on the options that cars should have. Your answers are still to come.
Also, men are known to have their toys. We'll visit a group that never grew out of the toy train phase. That's next.
If this tennis ball represents today's environmental challenges and these puppies are the EERC, then tackling those challenges is just another workday. At the EERC, we're improving air, water, and soil quality, developing renewable fuels, cleaner power plants, and discovering new ways to use our natural resources. And just like those puppies, we'll never tire of the pursuit. EERC, putting research into practice.
Your future depends on this moment. Take the path that leads to your future.
Studio One is a television show produced by students at the University of North Dakota.
You can be a part of the graphics team, the marketing team, news team, programming team, production team.
Training never ends.
You get to produce guests, you get to do the reporting side of it.
It's really worth the experience. You will not regret it.
At the University of North Dakota School of Engineering and Mines, improving the world is our project.
This could be your next road.
Our research helps heat your home without hurting the environment.
You drink clean water because of my work.
We push technology to improve quality of life.
This field could fuel your car.
Petroleum production can be more efficient.
One day, my ideas will impact you.
I am
an engineer.
There's a look at our beautiful studio audience. From time to time, people come and visit us during the show. Thanks for coming. Childhood fun can often turn into an adult hobby. Attention to detail makes one club stay on the right track.
Beyond the forest lies a town. Just like any town, there is a fire station, a construction crew, and little shops along Main Street. But what makes this town unique is there are a lot of trains.
We're just kind of a group of 20-some guys, and we show up and pretty much have fun.
This is the Northern Lights Railroad Club, a club that is so into little wheels on steel that they created a museum.
We've got the history of the railroads and the history of the machinery, and a lot of people, they don't understand how a lot of things work on the railroad.
The real reward is to share the joy they receive from this hobby.
Having visitors and seeing little kids, you know, stick their heads above the window over there and kind of stare at everything.
The club strives to make their museum worth staring at. They each bring something different on board.
Every member we have here has different talents that they can bring forward and use.
Talent is what created this detailed railroad town.
You really have to fine-tune the cars, and in some cases, longer trains, you hook them together. Some guys will have, 30, 40, 50 hours into just sitting there and fine-tuning each car to get them to run right.
Fine-tuning is worth it in the end. With each visitor to the museum is one more passenger hopping on for a scenic look at this club's handiwork. With photographer Dylan Reichstead, I'm Katie Fletcher, reporting for Studio One.
Technological advancements have played a big part in the development of the models. There is now even an app that the club can use to run their model trains from an iPhone. Ford is releasing an update for their newer cars. The feature will allow the vehicle to read text messages aloud to the driver. This addition is meant to curb the amount of people texting and driving. We wanted your thoughts on the perfect option, regardless of technology, for your vehicle.
I think I would have my car probably cook me breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and also make me some drinks if I ever needed to.
I'd have it buckle the kid's seatbelt in the back when I can't reach them.
I think I would have it drive for me so that basically, you know, when I'm on a long trip or whatever, I can sleep and the car would know what's happening.
I would have there be a soundproof barrier between the driver and passenger seat and the back for long trips with kids.
I would want it to make its own roads so I can go from point A, from point B, and miss all the traffic in the city.
You should be able to eliminate all of the buttons in a car and just have one button, and then you push this button and it talks to you like a human being, and you can set who you want it to be. So for me, it would be a gorgeous woman, or my wife, of course.
We have a comment from our Facebook page from Norway. Nina has a good idea. I would like a leg and neck massage while driving. We also have a comment from Max in Grand Forks, North Dakota. A coffee maker in the center console and a way to dispose of waste. One unique dog is carefully watched by the Icelandic Sheepdog Association. The reason is to keep the heritage strong. Next, we'll talk to a breeder.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by the Listen Center, where meeting friends at Listen is a groovy thing to do and has been since the days of Woodstock.
What does cancer look like? What about diabetes, heart disease? Medical laboratory professionals are a vital link in the treatment of disease and maintenance of health. They investigate clues found in the body that will direct patient care. The University of North Dakota's laboratory science programs are some of the most innovative, far-reaching, fully accredited programs in the nation. The UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences can help you become one of the few who see beneath the surface.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
And many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
The Icelandic sheepdog is full of tradition and heritage. This rare breed was nearly extinct in the 1960s because of diseases that were carried into Iceland by foreign breeds. Icelandic sheepdog breeder Valerie Gangel is here to talk about her dogs. Thank you for being here today, and I see you brought a furry friend along with you. Who is this?
This is our stud dog. His name is Loki at home. His registered name is Oscar Alspora.
What a fancy name. Why are these dogs so rare?
Well, Iceland is a very small place with, not many inhabitants, and so they have very few dogs. They have a long, history. They've been through a lot. Almost went extinct twice. Once due to famine and once due to distemper, as you said, being brought in from another country. And they just haven't spread out yet. They're still coming back from being extinct.
Why are you involved in saving this breed?
Well, I was raised in an Icelandic family with a lot of Icelandic tradition and the heritage, and so I remember my grandmother used to read me books about Iceland when I was young, and there were always pictures of these gorgeous little dogs, and I always wanted one, but it was impossible in those days to get one over here, nearly. And when I was able to, I got one.
And you do. How many dogs do you have?
I have 3.
And I know they're such a rare breed. How much do they cost, and what do they range from?
Between $1,000 and $2,000, I think, would be, it depends on whether it's a pet or a breeding show quality dog.
What are the personalities of these puppies?
Every day is their birthday. They are the happiest animals I've ever met in my life. They're just easy to get along with, easy to train. As smart as a border collie, but they calm down easier. They're just a little mellower. But yeah, they are just happy and easy to live with.
What makes them so unique and different?
Well, one of the things is that they have, preferably, they have 6 toes instead of the normal single dew claws. They have double dew claws. Most of them have them in the back, but this particular one has them in the front as well.
Maybe we can see them, see what it looks like a little bit.
I don't know if you can really see, but there's double dew claws right there.
What are they used for?
They're used for getting through the snow and ice in Iceland. They're herding dogs, so they may have to go and save, a lamb or some farm animal out in the snow. They have to be able to dig and climb. Also, puffin hunting on the cliffs in Iceland.
And this dog is a part of a separate organization. They have an organization just for this puppy. Why?
Well, because we need to keep strict rules and standards for the breeders and make sure that no one does any, interbreeding with other, breeds of dogs. Don't breed them too early. They have to be 2 before they can be bred. And also making sure that you have a small inbreeding coefficient, which means you don't have too much of the same bloodlines going together. And keep it diverse.
Why are these rules?
To keep the breed healthy. We don't want to wind up having some of the tragic issues that some of the other breeds have had, with whether it be eyes or hips.
What are the certain things that you look for when breeding these puppies?
Well, first and foremost would be conformation, beautiful conformation. Their bodies are put together well, and so it would be a healthy dog. Come here, buddy. And also, we look at the personalities. There are actually people out there that do personality tests on dogs. So we look at that, and the bloodlines, the parents, have so much to do with what you wind up with.
Is there certain colors that you need to stay away from when breeding these dogs, or they can come in all sorts of different colors?
They come in all sorts of different colors, but you want to stay away from a solid white dog or a dog whose body is really predominantly white. In horses as well as dogs, it can lead to problems with hearing and eyesight.
What was the first dog that you owned of this breed? Is this him, or?
No, actually it was my Elska. She came from Pine Ridge Icelandics up in Vancouver, British Columbia, and she was, oh my goodness, she's the most awesome dog. I still have her.
Was there a hard time that you ever had when you were parting with a certain puppy that you did breed?
Oh yes. We had one puppy that was supposed to go to Denmark that we wound up holding for 6 months. And when we wound up finally, putting her on the plane with her new owners, it was rough.
It was hard to part.
I cried really hard. Yeah.
You develop such a connection with them, and you train them. What are some things that you do when you train these puppies?
Well, it's all positive reinforcement. They're very, very easy to train. You don't need to, be grumpy with them in any way. It's treats and, telling them they're the best dog in the world when they do everything, when they do the right thing. And then just repetition, and they don't even need much of that. They're that easy.
Can just anybody buy the Icelandic sheepdog, or is there a certain process that people have to go through?
There is a process. I have a long questionnaire that I have people fill out to make sure that they would be an appropriate family for the dogs. Asking everything from, do you have a fenced yard, to how many kids, how would you take care of your dog if you needed to go on vacation, what would the circumstance be for them. Just all kinds of questions to find out if it would be suitable. I'm very, very protective.
I know. It has to be protective, and when people are trying to buy these puppies, what are some important things to consider?
Matching the right puppy with the right home. Sometimes if it's a little bit more rambunctious puppy, you would probably place that with the home with older children rather than the home with the tiny, tiny little ones.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Loki, for being here and being so calm as well.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Us.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be right back after this.
The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is meeting the challenge of future healthcare workforce shortages. The state's only medical school produces the highest percentage of graduates nationwide who choose family medicine. Advanced degrees are also offered in basic medical sciences like anatomy and health professions like physical therapy. Students learn and train throughout the state.
In that way, we really are North Dakota.
Make your choice the UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences.
If this tennis ball represents today's environmental challenges, and these puppies are the EERC, then tackling those challenges is just another workday. At the EERC, we're improving air, water, and soil quality, developing renewable fuels, cleaner power plants, and discovering new ways to use our natural resources. And just like those puppies, we'll never tire of the pursuit. EERC, putting research into practice.
At the University of North Dakota School of Engineering and Mines, improving the world is our project.
This could be your next road.
Our research helps heat your home without hurting the environment.
You drink clean water because of my work.
We push technology to improve quality of life.
This field could fuel your car.
Petroleum production can be more efficient.
One day, my ideas will impact you.
I am
an engineer.
What does cancer look like? What about diabetes, heart disease? Medical laboratory professionals are a vital link in the treatment of disease and maintenance of health. They investigate clues found in the body that will direct patient care. The University of North Dakota's laboratory science programs are some of the most innovative, far-reaching, fully accredited programs in the nation. The UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences can help you become one of the few who see beneath the surface.
Tune in next week on Studio One. We'll take you into the basement of a music producer. His hopes are to help get bands closer to the big time. Plus, we'll have other news and entertainment stories for you.
And we're going to leave you now with pictures of city workers cleaning up the remnants of summer. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.